anymore. Once again, the thing which will be discussed in today's class, that is a poem which you have been taught by me, and that was about once upon a time. Complete stanzas, complete details, important points have been discussed in the previous class. And today I just like to give you a review of the poem which was discussed with you people. And everybody knows that Gabriel Okara, he was talking to his son, rather son was being told about the two different attitudes of the two different generations, the present generation and the olden generation. Here he mentioned how the old generation used to receive their guests. What was their behavior? What was their attitude? Whether they were genuine in their emotions or not. And when he comes towards the present generation, then he discusses this same attitude or the same situation, but with the present generation's perspective. Then we were informed about the present generation's attitude and behavior, that whether their emotions are genuine or not. So from the very beginning, I would like to guide you people from the start. The very first stanza when we got information about, that was basically about the receiving from the very first step, that the moment you receive a guest. So he talked about the present generation, or rather I must say the older generation. The poet was telling his son that the older generation, or the people of old generation, were really genuine in their feelings. They used to receive the guest from the bottom of their heart. Their feelings, their warmth, their emotions, their smile, that was genuine. And their body language was absolutely putting the impression on to the guests that they were really happy on receiving them. That was not like the present generation. When he comes towards the present generation, then he talks about their behavior, or the behavior of the people of the modern civilization. The poet is of the opinion that yes, they do receive the guests, but the smile, the facial expressions they are having on their faces are not genuine. Rather, these are just making sort of fool, just to put that impression that they are really happy. But in reality, the emotions are not coming from the bottom of their heart. Their teeth are quite exposed, but this is not, it is just like, the teeth service. They just want to show their teeth, but in reality the emotions are not mixed up in those, in that particular smile. So the poet is telling his son that this was what was happening. And on the other hand, I will talk about the other things. He was saying that when the guests come, so in the present generation, people are always curious to see whether they are having more people behind them or not. The warmth they are having, that is not the genuine. Rather, they are curious. They have got a selfish approach. They are self-centered. They are thinking whether they have brought something for them or not. But the olden people, they were not having such things. Their emotions, their feelings, their happiness, everything are the warmth which they were representing, rather I must say, through the shaking of hand. This gesture of their body was putting that impression that they were really very happy. They were not rich people, but rather I must say they were rich by heart. They were really generous. They were full of generosity. They were full of real feelings. But when you talk about the present generation, they do have everything, every blessing of Allah Almighty they have got. But from the bottom of their heart, or by heart, they are really very miserly people. They are close-fisted people. The gesture of shaking hand is just a service. It is not having warmth. The spark is not coming from the bottom of their heart. So the one who is coming at the doorstep or the threshold gets the message that definitely the person is not happy. As I told you, face is index of mind. Whatever you are thinking, whatever you are saying, and whatever you would like to demonstrate through your facial expressions, people are sensitive or sincere, or I must say intelligent enough to realize that what emotions you are representing and with what feeling you are going to do that. So this thing was also discussed in this poem too. In the next stanza, when we just discuss one thing more. In the present generation, people always say that you are welcome, just consider it just like your own home. You should come again and again. Your coming is really of great importance for me. The pleasure will never be forgotten. But it is observed that when somebody comes twice, first time, once, twice, and thrice, the doors are shut. But it really doesn't mean that if somebody is knocking at your door, you are kicking that person out of your home. Not at all. But through your expressions, through your gestures, through your receiving, through the warmth of your attitude and greeting, you put this impression that you really did not get happy or do not get happy when somebody is knocking at your door. So we are taking guests as a burden. As I told you, they are not burden. When guests come, so that particular person, ladies or family, brings their own food with themselves. And this is rather, I must say, the bliss of Allah Almighty, that guests are coming to your door. But presently, we do not get happy when we are receiving guests at our doorstep or threshold. One thing. But in the olden time, respectable students, guests were always welcome. Whether they were less, whether they were more in number, there wasn't any sort of problem for them. They were not taken as a burden. Rather, they were taken as a bliss or a blessing of Allah Almighty. And whatsoever they were having, whether good food, whether bad food, whether good room, whether bad room, whether the location or ambience of their home was good or not, they were even least bothered about that. They were bothered about one thing, that was the warmth or the genuine feelings which they were having. And people were really very happy. It is said that presently people have got beautiful drawing rooms. They are representing wonderful things. They are serving so beautifully. But one thing can surely be said, that not all, but maximum people have got, the unreal feelings, fake feelings. They make their faces as though they are really very happy. But reality is that they are not happy. They want you to be leaving their home as soon as possible. So that is the approach which has been discussed by the poet. But olden time was a golden time. People were nice, they were real, they were poor, but they were rich by heart. Then the next thing we got information about that, the son was told by the father. As I told you, there is a word which is used, disguised, berupiye. We are dual-faced. We have, different faces according to the situation. So father was telling that presently what I have learned how to assume, how to adopt different sorts of faces according to the situation. Office face, home face, cocktail face, like that. These expressions I have learned to inspire people. But these are just expressions. We have different masks. If we are receiving some poor personality, we have different attitude. If we are sitting at office, different attitude. If we are meeting a person of our own choice, different attitude. If we are having sort of discussion with any person who is not belonging to my caste or my area, different attitude. So everywhere our personality is balanced. So he was telling his son, I have learned these all things to befool people. This is the trend in the present society, but which is not a good sign. This is what was being mind karna cha raha hai. It was happening. They were being neglected. They were not being respected. So this was what happening presently, or in the present time. Rather, in the olden time it was not happening. But the class, yes, racism was taking place. It is also having the touch of that too. Next thing, bete, the thing which was told by the father to son, that was about the wording, the words, the phrases which are being used by the present generation. Happy to see you, quite happy, goodbye. When you say goodbye, so the people of present generation really don't mean goodbye. In reality, they mean good riddance. Thanks to Allah Almighty that they got rid of that particular person. And they say, nice to meet you. Really, it was a wonderful time. So it means it wasn't that. They were really very, very fed up and they got bored. So whatever wording, whatever phrases they are using, these are just fake. Their statements are ironical. Ironical, what you say, the meaning is otherwise. जो आप कहें, आपका मतलब उलट है. So in the present generation, people have got learned the art of using different phrases to put good impression. But in reality, these all statements are what? Hypothetical, ख्याली है, ऐसा हो नहीं सकता. Ironical in a way, because whatever they are saying, they really do not mean that. So towards the conclusion of the stanza, the poem, the poet was saying one thing and he was quite upset, and what he said to his son was, my dear son, I would like to be just like you. I would like to unlearn all these things. I would like to bring real feelings in my personality. Just like you. When I was like you, I would like to become like that. Why he was mentioning his son? Actually, everybody knows that kids are miles away from the world of, discrimination and the fake feelings. Their feelings, their emotions are warmth is always genuine. So he was saying that I would like to learn all those things. I would like to go back to the past, because presently the situation is that. But in the olden time, situation was not like that. So I would like to be like you. When I was like you, I would like to go towards that. And all those muting, all those fake, all those, I must say, disguised or dual-faced attitudes, I want to forget. And I would like to be genuine like you. And in this way, everything will be wonderful and there will be happiness in our life. So I hope if there is any sort of problem, definitely you can put a question before me. And what you are supposed to do from tomorrow, you have got a presentation of this poem. You will come, I will discuss it, and I will come there and I will ask you people one by one, and you will be throwing some light onto the stanzas and the complete, the poem, whatever you understood. So I hope that's enough. Thank you very much. Please. अच्छा बेटे